Hello everyone and welcome back. In this lesson we are going to introduce the notion of NgRx selectors. We are going to learn how to consume data from the NgRx store. Let's give a simple example. Right now we already have here some data on the store. We have a is logged in flag that indicates if the user is logged in or not. Now we would like to take that flag out of the store and we would like to use it to decide if we should show or hide each of these two login buttons. So if the user is already logged in, there's no need to show this button, we can go ahead and hide it. And the same thing for logout. If the user is currently logged out, we would not want to show both buttons, we would only want to show the login button. So let's go ahead and see how can we extract the information about the login status from the user from the store. If you remember, the store is an observable of application state. So we have here the subscribe method, and this observable, the store, is emitting instances of application state. This means that the value that we get here is an instance of the application state which contains all the state of the store. It contains the authentication state and any other state that the store might contain. In order to show that that is indeed the case, let's go ahead and log to the console the state that we are receiving. So we would expect that each time that there is a new version of the state, that a new value gets emitted to the console. Let's go ahead and try this out to see if that's the case. We're going to switch here to a larger window where we have already this new version of the application up and running. So if we head over here to the login screen and we hit login, we're going to get here on the console indeed a new version of the state with the logged in flag set to true. If we now hit here logout, again we have here a new value of the application state with the logged in flag set to false. So this is working as expected, and indeed subscribing to the store is the right way to get state out of it. So let's say that now we would like to get here the logged in flag only, so that we decide here what buttons to choose. We could get only the flag and not the complete state simply by piping the state that we are getting out of the store using, for example, the RxJS map operator. So in this map operator we are going to take the state and we are going to extract from it only the information that we need, only the slice of state that we need. In this case we only need the logged in flag from the auth substate. So this means that with this mapping function here, we are no longer receiving via this observable the complete state. Instead, we are receiving only the value of the logged in flag. Let's then save this application, reload it, and try this out to see how this is working. Once we have the application up and running, let's go ahead and log in again. So as expected, now we are only receiving the new value of the logged in flag. If we now hit logout, we have here logged in set to false as expected. Going back to our program, this means that if we want to derive here from this store observable the logged in state, we can go ahead and define here a new observable, and we're going to call it is logged in. We're going to add here a dollar at the end just as a convention to indicate that this is an observable, and we are going to make this an observable of Boolean. Since we are defining here the data that we are retrieving from the store, let's go ahead and define also the is logged out observable. So this will also be an observable of Boolean that we will also be deriving from the store. Now let's go ahead and see how can we calculate the is logged in observable. We have actually already done it. So this observable that we are defining here without the call to subscribe, this corresponds to the definition of the is logged in observable. If you remember, the output of the pipe operator is an observable that is the result of applying all these operations to the source observable, which is the store itself. Now that we have defined is logged in, we can now define is logged out in a very similar way. Let's take this code here and we are going to apply it here to is logged out. The only difference is that we are going to negate here the flag. And we are going to be showing you in a moment a better way of defining these two observables using a selector function Right now, we simply want to show how simple it is to derive slices of state directly from the store observable. Now that we have here these two observables derived from the store, let's go ahead and apply them to the template. We are going to go here to the login button and we are going to show it only if the user is currently logged out. So let's go ahead and add here ngIf to this element. We are going to display this element only if the user is currently logged out. So we are going to take the is logged out observable. We are going to pipe it with the async pipe. This is going to subscribe to this observable and get the emitted values. So whenever the user is logged out, we are going to be showing this button. Otherwise, this button is going to be hidden. In a very similar way, we are going to conditionally show or hide the logout button. So now, this time around, we want to have a look at the is logged in observable. Let's apply also the async pipe. So we want to show the logout button only if the user is already logged in. Let's try this out. We are going to go ahead and refresh the application and we are going to try this here directly on this smaller browser window. So already here this is working better than before. We can see that because we are logged out, we are not showing here the logout button. We only have the login button. If we now hit login, we are going to see that now it's the other way around. We only have the logout button as expected. And this, in summary, is how we get data out of the store. We get all the data and then we extract only the slice that our particular component will need at each time. In the next lesson, we are going to see how can we extract data in a better way using NgRx selectors.